Hello, my name is Ryan Honray. I'm going into my junior year and I like to snowboard and surf in my free time. So my project is basically a network of detectors, and the detectors itself have three sensors, one for flame or infrared, one for smoke, and one for temperature. And basically, how it works are each detector is constantly capturing data. And once the detector actually detects a fire based on its readings, it'll relay that information from detector to detector because um, my network is a mesh network, which basically means all of the detectors can communicate with each other. And this information will be sent from detector to detector until it eventually reaches one of my meteorological stations. And at these stations, they'll use cellular to send all that information back to the host, whether it's going to be an app or just like a fire station. So basically, there's two uses of AI in my platform. One of them is that on that mini meteorological station, it uses artificial intelligence to, based on the constant readings it's getting from my detectors, it'll predict where it believes the fire will grow. And then also how I'm using artificial intelligence is for false alarm reduction. So in 2018, I was in Arizona for practice, and during one of my breaks, I saw a wildfire. It was the campfire in November of 2018. It was called the campfire. And the hills that were being burnt looked just like the hills that were behind my house. And I was only in Arizona with my dad, and my mom was still at home. So I called my mom to ask if she was like okay and like what was going on. And she said that she was. But then I started wondering why we're doing so much research on like traveling to other planets and stuff when we still can't solve major problems in our own. So I started to do some research and realized that all of the current solutions, whether they were old, new, cheap, or expensive, they all lacked two things. And that was that one, they couldn't detect fires in its incipient stage, and two, that they lacked timeliness of response. So I realized that the key to stopping the devastation caused by these fires is extremely early detection when the fire is in that incipient stage. And to be able to relay that information back very quickly. And the reason why detecting a fire in its incipient stage is so effective is because in that stage, firefighters are still able to put out the fire just with like handheld equipment, like a fire extinguisher. So by the time they get there, although it might not be that small, it'll be so small that it'll be like they'll be able to put it out extremely quickly. Biggest challenge that I really had was that finding the proper educational resources that weren't either too shallow, like a 5-second YouTube short or short YouTube video, or too detailed, like a full-on computer science textbook. So I had to spend a lot of time like in after school programs and reaching out to individuals that I believed could help me solve the various technical problems I had along the way. And it was really difficult. I mean, the key was to just remain, like, committed and not giving up when something wouldn't work. But it was honestly really frustrating because, like, I kind of had to piece together the information like it was a puzzle. So for my immediate next steps for SensoryAI, which is the name of the company, is I'm currently working with professional firefighters to do live fire testing of my solution. And I'm hoping to get to a point where I can actually do a pilot deployment in a high fire risk location and then have professionals evaluate whether it can add real value. Yeah, I would suggest to like find a problem that they're specifically passionate about solving and then focus on developing a solution to that problem. But then I'd also include that like don't do it just for a competition. Like don't decide that since there's a science fair coming up in a month, You just want to get some project up and quickly finish it to submit to that competition. Based on personal experience, I realized that if you just focus on working hard toward that topic that you're passionate about, and you work hard because you truly care about whatever problem you're trying to solve, placing well in a competition will come on its own.